Welcome to the P's and Q's podcast by PerfectQuote. For each episode, we're going to share a pint and ask some questions to learn more about the current state of the employee benefits broker market and the future of insurance technology. Join me, Kevin Dawson, as we hear from industry leaders and insurance executives in the PerfectQuote team for great drinks and conversations. Well, welcome to the P's and Q's podcast by PerfectQuote. I'm your host, Kevin Dawson, and today I am joined by Doug Mohr of Vertafore. Doug, welcome to the P's and Q's podcast.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. Happy to be here.
Well, Doug, before we jump in and talk about Vertafore and Benefit Point, I've got some rapid fire questions for you. So first question, what was your first job?
My first job was paperboy. I delivered papers in my neighborhood on my BMX bike. I grew up in Southern California, where I had the luxury of not having to worry about the weather, and I was racing BMX at the time, about 12 years old. So I looked at the job and training in the same lens. So I had it was crazy. I had friends that had like the good paper route, which meant they split the neighborhood between two of them. I had the obscure paper, so I had to ride about 15 miles a day, and it was awesome. I lived in the foothills and Anaheim Hills, and I got tons of exercise and made a few bucks at the same time.
You know, that's a job that I don't think exists anymore. You know,
Right.
The paper boy. I mean, I get my newspaper, which to read a newspaper for someone my age is kind of weird, but I get it digitally, you know?
Yep. As does my 95-year-old dad. He stopped getting the newspaper because he couldn't read the fine print anymore. And on his browser, he can blow the font up really, really big so he can read the darn thing.
All right. Second question. When you're at the bar, what is your go-to order?
Oh, IPA.
IPA all the way?
Yeah. And the more IBUs and the higher the alcohol content, the better. So I'm a Imperial double IPA kind of guy, and 80 IBUs or more.
Gotcha. Nice. What did you want to be growing up?
Well, that's a really good question. I didn't really have like an aspiration. So I mentioned I grew up in Southern California. So my first love, as I mentioned, was bicycle motocross. Then I got into skateboarding. Then I got into surfing, also did motocross, but I knew I was not good enough to be a professional athlete in any of those sports. So while you would think, gosh, didn't you aspire to be a professional skateboarder? No, I knew my lane. I knew there was guys way better than me. I was never going to be there, right? So it's kind of funny because I was really good in math in high school, like straight A student in math. And so when I was picking careers, 1980, right? I graduated high school in 1980. I just there's this computer science thing going on. So I was like a dartboard. I'm just like, yeah, I'm good at math. Let's go to University of California, Irvine, because I could live on the beach, computer science. And it was luck of the draw. So never looked back. I've been working in technology since 1984 when I graduated.
Well, California is a hotbed for technology.
It is. At the time, it wasn't a big deal. But by the time I got out of college, mid 80s, it was really starting to become a big career, big path. When I started college in 1980, there wasn't even a personal computer. There wasn't such a thing as an IBM PC. So between the time I started college and when I graduated, this thing called the IBM personal computer came out and, obviously revolutionized our world.
Yeah. It's amazing how much things have changed, which we'll get into some of that here in just a little bit. All right, next question. Podcast or playlist?
Playlist.
Okay. So on your playlist, who are you currently listening to?
Oh my gosh. I've got the gambit. Well, your buddy Aaron Snyder will like this one. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizards, my latest addition to my playlist. Really cool band. But I go back to growing up in the 70s, listen to Hendrix, Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, late 70s, I got into kind of the the punk wave, new wave evolution. So, Elvis Costello, The Clash, bunch of stuff that was coming out the late 70s, late 80s, and continue. I was really into grunge in the 90s, loved Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins, then became the Foo Fighters fan. 2000s, Death Cab, Young the Giant. I have a 22-year-old daughter. She shares my love for music. We go to concerts together. She likes a lot of the same music. So I have it all. I have it all, Kevin. Just
nice.
I don't listen to rap. I don't listen to country. Those are the two genres I don't listen.
We would hang out. I think we could hang out together, because that's not those two things. My wife is a big country music fan, and everybody gives me grief in my family for marrying a country music fan, but teach their own.
Yeah. No, I love jazz. I don't listen to a lot of classical, but blues. I love blues. Stevie Ray Vaughan, obviously Hendrix. I mean, people don't realize how bluesy Led Zeppelin is in a lot of their music, right?
Right.
I mean, lot of blues based to their stuff. So
yeah, very much. Well, cool. Well, we're here to talk about Vertafore and what y'all do. So just for our listeners, can you just kind of give us a high level overview of who Vertafore is, and then we can kind of go from there?
Yeah, absolutely. So Vertafore is the largest insurance technology provider in the United States. We provide solutions that go across the entire insurance distribution channel. So we work with carriers, we work with MGAs, retail agents, wholesalers. We work with licensing bodies and with our CIRCON solution around distribution compliance. There's about 21 states that use CIRCON technology to license and appoint their agents that are writing business in their states. Carriers use that solution. So we have a very broad set of solutions. It'd take me 30 minutes just to walk through every one of the solutions we have. But our real foundation and base for our company is the independent agent channel, right? That's all of our solutions are focused on the independent channel of distribution, in distributing insurance products through that channel. So we look at it across the board. We have solutions for P&C retail agents, benefits retail agents, as I mentioned, MGAs, MGUs, program administrators, carriers, state licensing boards, the entire every part of the insurance distribution channel. We provide some technology solution and services and valuable offerings to those consumers of those pieces of technology.
As a what I call a recovering broker, my first touch of Vertafore was CIRCON, doing all the licensing, but I know Vertafore offers an agency management system that's specifically designed for the employee benefits broker called BenefitPoint. What makes BenefitPoint different than others in the market?
Yeah, great question. So since day one of the creation of BenefitPoint, which dates back to the late 90s, it was the first completely web-based benefits specific agency management system in the marketplace. So we were the founders of BenefitPoint. This was a company we acquired in the 2000s. But the founders of BenefitPoint had a vision that this thing called the internet in the late 90s was really going to take off. And that was really visionary at the time. I mean, there weren't a whole lot of companies staking their future and their claim on a browser-based technology solution. Here, you might be a little young to remember this, but in the late 90s, there was this little thing called Y2K. Most of us in the industry, we were focused on this little thing where a 2-digit date code was going to end the world because we had to convert to 4-digit dates. So a lot of us were focused, and myself included, in the enterprise software space, upgrading customers to accommodate these 4-digit year date problem, right? Because we had coded our systems in the 70s and the 80s, and we had to migrate and update all our customers. Well, the founders of BenefitPoint saw the vision that the internet was the future, created BenefitPoint. Now, from there, where BenefitPoint has grown is stake to claim, primarily in the brokers that write large group health plans. And what I mean by that, over 50 lives. That's benefit point sweet spot. So we really have a purpose-built solution that addresses large group benefit plans for brokers like yourself when you were in that business, that give them all the tools to manage their customer relationships, the plans that are coming down from the carriers. Every benefits broker knows renewal season starts around the end of fall into Q4, and managing and focusing on that benefits renewal process and going through the RFP quoting, all those different aspects of the benefit brokers world as they look to provide the best benefit plan for their customers, their end customers.
Very good. As I think through, where technology has brought the insurance industry, so, I call myself a recovering broker. My dad's been a broker for 40 years. And, he even showed me the old rate cards that carriers used to show. And when he had his own agency, they didn't really manage, it with anything big at the time. And so as more brokers move to embrace technology, looking to create efficiencies and increase what they're doing, what are some of the common issues that you hear that brokers are saying, this is what we're trying to deal with, and then how does Benefit Point solve that?
Mm-hmm. So, and I'm going to make a little plug for PerfectQuote here, because one of the areas that customers have asked us to provide better solutions for is interfacing with the information coming from the carriers, whether it's the smaller plans like ACA, or large group benefit plans coming from the Blues, or whatever who the carrier is, United Healthcare, Aetna, and digitizing that information and getting it into the benefits management system in the Benefit Point. As a result, many of our customers look to outside places to keep that data, right? So they're keeping it in spreadsheets, PDF, document repositories. The data is spread all over the place. And the consolidation of that data, the partnership and integration that we built with Benefit Point and PerfectQuote has actually helped our customers improve their data hygiene. I'll call it data hygiene, the accuracy of the data stored at Benefit Point, because they're running through all their processes through PerfectQuote, and through the two-way integration, you are pushing that information back into Benefit Point, so it's accurate and it reflects the plans that were accepted by the policyholder, by the company that's working with the broker, the benefits broker, to make sure the data in Benefit Point's accurate at the time of renewal, so that as they work through the year, adding lives, removing lives, changing plan options, somebody has a baby and they're adding a dependent to the plan. We're starting fresh at the beginning of the year with an accurate set of data in Benefit Point, and then come renewal season, all over again, and then everything that happens in between. And the other part that's a key component of this is not only the quoting that PerfectQuote provides, but also kind of the benefits admin piece of the equation. So solutions like Employee Navigator that are out there, and Ease, where the end customer, the business that's got the plans that are going out to their employee base, are able to self-administer these changes and then have those come back into Benefit Point through PerfectQuote. So it's just a really great way to address some of the questions or concerns that our customers have had about Benefit Point, about data accuracy, because it all comes down to, they want their brokers to use the management system. They want them to use Benefit Point and not have to go outside the system. And so PerfectQuote provides a great vehicle for us to get that data and have the data accurate at Benefit Point.
Great. I know that here at PerfectQuote, we really appreciate that integration we have with Benefit Point. I know our users that where we cross over appreciate that. When we partnered together, Vertafore has this Orange Partner Program, which PerfectQuote is a strategic partner of. Can you provide more detail on what that is and why that's important?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Orange Partner Program started about 5 years ago, but it began many years before that. So Vertafore has always had an open API approach to integration with third-party solutions like PerfectQuote. Benefit Point, the fact that it was built on a web-based technology, the web service integration just came as a side benefit of that. Our other solutions like AMS 360, QQ Catalyst, PL Rating, all have similar open APIs that are attached to those solutions. And so what the Orange Partner Program does is takes that long legacy of having an open API approach and a belief that the partner ecosystem makes us stronger, not weaker, and it formalized that. And as a result of that, we now just celebrated our 40th Orange partner that joined the program late last year. So it's been extremely successful, and it's really just, like I said, formalizing the approach we already had in place. And it's really built on the premise of the three stakeholders. Ultimately, the customer, our joint customer, gets the benefit, no pun intended, the benefit of knowing that we are working together in a partnership, a true partnership. And that gives them the peace of mind that we've done some of our due diligence when going out there and identifying solutions in the marketplace, InsurTech solutions that provide value to our customers. And what that means is, number one, that solution provider, when we look at a new partner coming into the partner program, we're looking for those solutions that already have some adoption within our independent agent customer base, whether it be a P&C retail agent, a benefits broker, MGU, MGA wholesaler. We look to solutions that already have some adoption. And what that tells us is our customers see value in that. The second is, once we determine that there's value, we want to make sure it's a complementary solution. So we don't want to offer partnerships that might conflict with some of our own solutions. And as I mentioned, we've got a broad suite, and we really look to the partners to extend the current suite of solutions rather than replace or even compete with them. And then the third thing that makes an Orange partner valuable to our customers is that we do go through a pretty intensive review of their security, data, practices, make sure that their privacy and data data policies adhere to the same standards that we hold ourselves to. So that's the customer's perspective. For the partners, it's around having access to the technology and the resources to be able to do the integration right and advise with the new partner on best practices and how to integrate with our solutions. And then lastly, third stakeholder, Vertafore, right? So I mentioned it before. We see the ecosystem as being an extension to our own suite of solutions. So by having a robust partner ecosystem, it allows us to have greater reach and not have to build solutions ourselves where we know there's experts out there building it and we can just integrate with them.
Great. So we've got all these great integrations, this great partnership that between PerfectQuote, Vertafore, for our users, that simplicity of being able to have accurate data, go back and forth to support their customers. But for those who aren't currently utilizing Benefit Point, who makes a good candidate for Benefit Point?
Yeah, like I said earlier, if you're writing group benefits for over 50 lives, you are a great candidate for Benefit Point. Whether it be a standalone benefit shop or a benefits business that's attached to a retail P&C agency. And I would say that the latter, if you're a benefits shop that's anchored to a retail P&C agency, the integration with the retail P&C system to allow the book of business to be transferred to the AMS for accounting purposes and commissions is one of the strongest strengths that the Benefit Point has. And we integrate with our own solutions, and we also integrate with a couple others out there in the marketplace to send information to their core accounting system so producers could get paid commissions out of one system.
Fantastic. So If I was a broker wanting to find more information about Benefit Point or the other suite of Vertafore products, how can they learn more?
Best way is vertafore.com. You can learn about all our solutions right there on the website. We've got all our Orange partners there. There's a contact link there. If you want to reach out to me personally, I am on LinkedIn. It's Doug Mohr, M-O-H-R. You can reach me via email, dmohr@vertafore.com. Those are two great methods to learn more about Vertafore.
Well, Doug, I appreciate you joining me for some pints and some questions today on the P's and Q's podcast. And from all of us at PerfectQuote, we really do appreciate our partnership with Vertafore. So thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Kevin. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers. Well, thank you for listening to the P's and Q's podcast by PerfectQuote. Please subscribe, share, comment, send this to a broker who needs to hear more about Vertafore. And for more information on PerfectQuote, visit our website at perfectquote.io or send us an email at sales@perfectquote.io. And next time, join us for more pints and questions on the next P's and Q's podcast.